Thunderbolts is a woke piece of trash, ladies and gentlemen. No, I don't actually think that. The headline is 100% meant to get those weirdos that like to screenshot titles and thumbnails and post them to Twitter so they can cry. And that's exactly what I'm hoping I will accomplish with that title and headline. But the reality of the situation is I actually liked Thunderbolts. Now, I went into this with extremely low expectations because I've been very checked out on Disney Marvel movies for a long time now, and I really don't have any hopes for them to be good. I have seen none of the Disney Plus shows. I think I've watched a couple of the first episodes to try to cover them, and they're so incredibly bad that I just check out so quickly that I can't even pretend to care, even for the content. I just do not care. The last film that I remember watching from the Marvel Cinematic Universe outside of Deadpool, Wolverine, and Guardians 3 might be Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, which I absolutely hated. I didn't go see Eternals. I might have saw the second Black Panther. I don't remember where that falls in the timeline. It doesn't really matter. The point being is that I went into Thunderbolts expecting more Marvel garbage, and I ended up enjoying this movie, shockingly enough. I thought that Sentry was absolutely fantastic in the movie. I thought that Red Guardian and Bucky were just great. Like I said, this, whatever his name is, the Captain America guy, John Walker, I think. The reason I don't know anything about him is because I didn't see Black Captain America. I didn't watch the Black Captain America show. I don't care about most of this universe. And I think that probably helped me a lot in this movie to not know the connective tissue that's going on within the Marvel Cinematic Universe at this point in time. I truly believe that I checked out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe after Endgame, which is the proper place to check out of it. Once I saw the direction that they were going, I really just didn't care enough to try to follow all of these storylines and characters and intertwining everything. So I was watching this much in a vacuum, where I was just watching this story like I would watch a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. And I ended up very much enjoying it. And I was sailing when I watched it. So I need to kind of see it in maybe IMAX. I'd love to see it in IMAX. So I didn't get the proper experience that I would like to. And that kind of goes into my expectations were just so incredibly low that I just really had no interest or desire to see this movie. And I ended up enjoying it. I thought the characters were good. The story is very generic and pretty stupid, but it's the characters that drive this forward, and you get to see superheroes doing superhero things at times, which I do appreciate, which is something we don't get in superhero movies anymore, or it's usually just cringe whenever we see it. But in this movie, it actually did work when it worked. It was pretty slow in the beginning, as I said over on Twitter when I made my tweet. It was very slow for the first, I feel like 20, 30, maybe even 40 minutes. But then it gets rolling. And once it gets rolling, the characters actually have really good chemistry. And I cared. I was interested enough because of these characters. Characters really are the backbone of this movie. So there was good action scenes. There was good fight scenes and things like that. It does end abruptly, which kind of was jarring. And so that obviously was something that stuck with me in terms of just how jarring it was. But I enjoyed the movie. I really don't know where I could rank this in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because to me, I would never compare this to the MCU that started with Iron Man and ended with Endgame. I would never compare it because there is no comparison whatsoever. So what you have is a very low bar that I've seen what they've done with the MCU since the end of Endgame with the MCU, where they've made it political propaganda. They've made it all about representation. I know that the Eternals saved a lot of lives, and I really appreciate that the movie Eternals, even though it was a flop and it was a disaster, and Marvel's probably never going to talk about it again, I appreciate that it saved so many lives out there. But I really have nothing to compare this movie to. I do believe, and I was just on Friday Night Tights with all of my friends, and it feels like the more involved in the MCU are from a knowledge standpoint, the worse this movie probably was because of the frustration levels of all of that connective tissue. And I don't really have that problem because I do not know anything about the current MCU at all. All I know is that I watched this movie and I liked these characters and I liked the journey that they went on and I believed it. And I believed the ending of the movie and the title that they gave them and all of that. It just worked for me for what it was. Now, if you would have told me that this was part of the MCU back in the day, I don't think that this stands up like something should have back in the day. This would have not stood up to something like a Guardians of the Galaxy or a Civil War or anything like that. But for what this was, I was fine with it. Now, the reaction has been pretty interesting because obviously Critic List is the place that I spend more of my time looking up movie reviews and giving my movie reviews and my opinions. If you have not, I would highly recommend you go over and check that out. And right now, there's 28 reviews over there and it's at 59%. Looks like Blaine has given it an 83%, who's the owner of Critic List. I have not given my review yet. So 59% is not the worst thing ever, but it's certainly not great. You go over to Rotten Tomatoes and you have an 89% 89% critic score, a 95% tomato or popcorn meter. You click on the 95% and then you go to all audience and the all audience is still at 95%. Which was very shocking because the people that I follow on social media and things like that, I saw a lot of negativity with this movie from the people that I'm, friends with and that I follow. And I just don't share that negativity at all. I very much enjoyed this movie and I don't apologize for that at all. So it seems like the audience is on my side of this too, which I was very shocked at. I truly did not care about this movie at all. And going into it, I walked away enjoying it. Now, the box office numbers for Thunderbolts, it says that it's made $11.5 million on Thursday previews. It's now expected to gross $80 million at the domestic opening weekend. Now, we'll see how that ends up being. I mean, those aren't great numbers at all, but if we're to believe the word of mouth potential here, top critics gave it a 90. All critics give it an 89. Verified audience gives it a 95. All audience gives it a 95. Those are really, really strong numbers. Again, you go over here to Critic List, and right now we're sitting at a 59%. I would probably, and the way that Critic List aggregates their percentages is different than one of Rotten Tomatoes. So essentially, the 59% is just an average of the total scores that have been given, not an aggregate like Rotten Tomatoes says. So for me, I mean, I would probably give this movie like a 7 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10, which would be the equivalent of a 70 or a 75 on Critic List. So I would slightly be above the audience score over here. I do need to watch the movie again to formulate my full opinion. This was my tweet that I put out. I really liked Thunderbolts. It was good, very entertaining. A little slow in the beginning, but once it got going, it was solid. Good characters, decent story, overall fun. Sentry was the best part. However, he felt very rushed. He was very rushed, by the way. That is a criticism for sure that I could say. He begins as Bob, and then with little to no development, he just is fully formed. And you're just like, wow, that was quick. Now, he's awesome, and I think he's a great character, but there was no development whatsoever. None. And so I don't really think that was beneficial to the overall movie. And in the beginning, when I said like the story is just kind of stupid, because it is a stupid story, but it doesn't mean it's not a decent story. It's stupid, And I mean, look at me. I'm stupid. And some people like me. So it's a stupid story, but it's a decent story. Whatever. Bucky and Red Guardian, I thought they were great. They had really great chemistry. And Florence Pugh is hot. And that's my gist of it right there. So I will go check this movie out again. And I'm interested to see what I think about it once I'm able to experience it on IMAX, in the glorious IMAX screen. But Bucky should have been Captain America. It's a crime that Sam Wilson was given the DEI hire of Captain America. It's absolute bullshit. And seeing Bucky in this movie just continues to confirm that for me. Now, again, maybe he's been in some of the Disney Plus garbage shows. I don't know. I don't care. I'm never watching any of those Disney Plus shows. I've tried to watch some of them, and they are just so fucking bad that there's just no point. I see no point in watching those dog shit Disney Plus series. And I really don't see any point in watching a lot of these Marvel movies. The only reason I watched this was because I knew we had to cover it for Friday Night Sights. That's essentially the only reason I watched it. And then I watched it, and I was like, everybody else says this sucks, and I really enjoy it. So you guys let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you very much for checking out this video, and we will talk to you later.